morning, Treefoot Owls. Welcome to today's lesson. We will be looking at angles and triangles and the triangle sum theorem. What you will need today is a piece of paper, a marker, and a pair of scissors. So if you need to, go ahead and pause the video and go grab paper, marker, scissors. Today we're going to think about how all of the angles in a triangle and why they are the way they are. So to start us off, we're looking at the triangle sum theorem, but really it's just saying that all of the angles in a triangle have the sum of some number. So in a triangle, like the one I have here, all of these three angles, 1, 2, 3, if we add them all up, they're always going to equal 180 degrees. Alright, so all of the angles in a triangle have the sum of 180 degrees. That goes for every single type of triangle. Every triangle you will ever meet, all three angles will add up to 180 degrees. Why? Because let's find out. What you will need is your piece of paper. And what we need to do for this activity is we need to fold this piece of paper into a square. Yours might already be a square. If it's not, you can just take one corner and fold it down to meet the bottom end of your paper. Just like this. You'll see that there's like a little flap that's left. You can go ahead and fold that. You're going to want to cut off this flap. And you should have a square. Once you have your square, I want you to cut straight down the middle so that you have two different triangles. Once you have your two different triangles, I want you to label them just like this. One, two, three. So go ahead and take a minute, create your square, cut your square into two different triangles, and label both of your triangles 1, 2, 3. You can pause the video here too if you need some extra time. Alright, now that we have two triangles that are labeled 1, 2, and 3, I want you to just place one over to the side as a reference. Alright? Really what we just did is label the amount of triangles, or the amount of angles that we have in a triangle, which we know is 3. On your second triangle, it should look exactly the same. And what I want you to do is I want you to rip this triangle up into 3 pieces with one angle in each piece. So 1, 2, 3. Alright, so your pieces might look different than mine. That's okay. But you should have 3 different pieces of your triangle. Alright, so like we just said, a triangle with 3 angles, 1, 2, 3, they're all going to equal 180 degrees. The reason they equal 180 degrees is because if we take our 3 angles that we chopped up, and let's say we draw a line, and we want each point of our angles that we just cut up, so like this part, or this part, we want to match them all together kind of like puzzle pieces on that line. So let's see if this will work. So I'm going to match my first angle up on this line. I'm going to match number 2. And number 3. what you'll notice is these three angles that we just cut up. If we put them together like puzzle pieces, they equal a straight line. And we've already learned about this. This straight line here is a straight angle. Who remembers how many degrees are in a straight angle? Exactly, 180 degrees. So in every triangle, if we chopped up each angle, if we made it into three separate angles, they would always be able to line up on a straight line, which we know is also equal to 180 degrees. So that is a brief overview of why all angles in a triangle have a sum of 180 degrees. Because if we cut the angles up, we would always be able to fit them like puzzle pieces into that straight angle, which equals 180 degrees. Let's go ahead and take a look at when we might use our knowledge of angle sums. Alright. Sometimes in 5th grade math, we're going to ask you to find the missing angle of a triangle. For instance, some problems might give you a triangle and there's only 2 out of the 3 angles filled out, and we have to find that missing angle. The way that we're going to do this is with our knowledge that all angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So when we're working on how to find the missing angle, our first step is to add up the given angles, or add up the angles that we know. You know, work with what you got. In this triangle here, I'm given 120 and 30 degrees. Those are the angles that I know. That's where I'm going to start. So I'm going to add those up. 120 plus 30, 0, 2 plus 3 is 5. Alright, so I added up the 2 angles that I know, 120 and 30 degrees, and together they equal 150 degrees. And now I need to use that knowledge to figure out what this angle is here that I don't know. My second step is I'm going to subtract the sum from 180 degrees. I'm taking the degrees that that triangle has to have all together and subtracting the angles that I already know, the sum. So this sum is referring to those 2 angles that we added together. So now I can take 180 degrees, because that's how many degrees are in the triangle in all. And I'm taking away the amount of degrees I know, minus 150. So 0 take away 0 is 0. 8 take away 5 is 3. 1 take away 1, nada, which means our missing angle has to be 30 degrees. We can also check our work using addition, knowing that all of our angles have to add up to 180 degrees. So I could also check my work and do my 120 that I was given, my 30 that I was given, and the 30 degrees that I found to be my answer. Add them up. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 1. They all add up to 180 degrees, which means I was correct. My missing angle is 30 degrees. Alright, so again to recap, first, when you have a triangle that has only 2 angles, so you need to find the third one, you are first going to add up the given angles, and then you are going to subtract that sum from 180 degrees to find your answer. And you can check your work by adding up all those angles and see if they equal 180 degrees. What I want you to do is I want you to practice one on your own. So if we take a look down here, we have a right angle, and we know a right triangle, and we know 2 of the angles in this triangle. And I want you to practice step 1 and step 2 on your own. So we know 50 degrees, and we know what this box stands for in a right triangle. And I want you to use that knowledge to find the missing sum. So go ahead and pause the video, practice finding the missing angle here, and we'll talk about your work. All right? So you're looking for what is the missing angle. All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at what you did. What we want to do first is add up all of the angles that we know. We got to work with what we got. So step number 1, add up the angles that we know. We know that this triangle has 50 degrees, and we know that this box here in this right angle is equal to 90 degrees. So we know 90 degrees is one of the angles in this triangle, and we know 50 degrees is one of the angles in this triangle. And step number 1 says I need to add. So I'm going to go ahead and add those. All right. So I got 140 degrees. But that's not my missing angle. That's not what this equals. 1, it's way too big. We know that this angle right here is an acute angle, so it's definitely going to be less than 90. But this is the sum of our two angles. So next, in step number 2, it says that I need to subtract the sum from 180 degrees. So I'm going to start with 180 degrees because that's always going to be my bigger number. And I'm going to take away the 140 that I just found. And then I subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0, 8 minus 4 is 4, 1 minus 1 is nothing. So I got that my missing angle should equal 40 degrees, but I want to make sure to check my work. So I'm going to do my 90 degrees plus my 50 degrees plus the 40 degrees that I think is that missing angle. Let's add them up. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. Oh! So did I get the magic number? Yeah. All of the angles that I found equal 180 degrees, which means my missing angle is definitely 40 degrees. So I can even write that in here. 40 degrees. What I would highly recommend that you do when you are finding the missing angle is show your work in these 2 steps. Label step number 1, add, and label step number 2, subtract. And then over on the side, check your answer. I would do these first 2 steps and add this third one on checking your answer while you're working on these problems. If you have any questions, let us know, and we'll see you soon.